My crazy neighbor tried to ruin my relationship. But karma hit back hard, part 2/4. So there we were, standing in the doorway of our apartment, holding an envelope full of fake cheating texts. Jake's face was pale, his jaw clenched, and I could see the doubt flickering in his eyes. "Jake," I said slowly, "you don't actually believe this, do you?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he flipped through the pages, his hands shaking. "These messages have your name, your number." I snatched one of the papers from his hands. The messages were bad, graphic, even. The worst part? Whoever made them didn't just forge text messages, they included screenshots of a dating app profile. My face. My name. A bio that made me sound like I was looking for a hookup behind Jake's back. "Jake, this isn't real. You know I would never." But he wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring at something over my shoulder. I turned just in time to see movement in the hallway. And who was standing there, just barely visible through the cracked door? Mrs. Caldwell. She didn't even look embarrassed to be caught eavesdropping. Instead, she tilted her head and gave me this sympathetic look. "Oh, sweetheart," she sighed, "I warned you, didn't I?" I felt my stomach drop. "Warned me? You did this?" Jake turned to her, still gripping the papers in his hand. "What are you talking about?" She let out a dramatic sigh, shaking her head. "I didn't want to be the one to tell you, Jake, but I've seen her bringing men into your apartment when you're at work." That's when I snapped. "Are you insane?" I practically shouted. "You're making this up. You've been trying to get between us since we moved in." She gasped, clutching her chest like I'd physically wounded her. "I knew you'd react like this. That's what cheaters do, they deny, they lash out." She turned to Jake. "Sweetheart, you don't have to put up with this. You deserve a woman who truly loves you." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw those fake screenshots in her smug face. But then, Jake did something unexpected. He laughed. It wasn't a normal laugh. It was the kind of laugh you make when you finally realize something insane is happening, and your brain just short-circuits. "You actually expect me to believe this?" He waved the papers at her. "This is Photoshop. It's bad Photoshop." Her expression flickered, just for a second. Then she put on the sweet old lady act again. "Jake, honey, I just want to protect you. I know how women like her operate." That's when it clicked. I stepped closer, my hands balled into fists. "Mrs. Caldwell, are you trying to break us up because you want Jake for yourself?" Her face twisted. For a second, she looked utterly deranged. Then, she let out a horrible laugh. "Oh, sweetie," she cooed. "You really think so highly of yourself, don't you?" She turned on her heel and walked away, disappearing into her apartment. But I knew this wasn't over. And I was right.